A trial in the landmark antitrust case against social media giant Meta continues in Washington. The U.S. Competition and Consumer Watchdog alleges that Facebook owner bought Instagram in 2012 and WhatsApp in 2014 to eliminate competition, effectively giving itself a monopoly. The Federal Trade Commission reviewed and approved those acquisitions, but also committed to monitor the outcomes. If the FCC wins the case, it could force Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg to sell off both Instagram and WhatsApp. Today, the court heard that CEO Mark Zuckerberg considered spinning off Instagram back in 2018 over concerns about antitrust litigation. And for more on this case, we turn to tech analyst Carmi Levy. Carmi, always good to get your perspective on these stories. You say this could easily be the most significant tech story in a while. Tell me why.
No, the very future of social media, Lena, hangs in the balance here. This is a company with a $1.4 trillion advertising business, at its, within its control. And they arguably are the center of the social media universe, largely thanks to their acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp. So if it comes to that, if that worst case scenario plays out where they have to spin off one or both of these, it really would be another reordering of the social media landscape that we haven't seen in the entire history of this technology. So really the future of how we interact online kind of hangs in the balance here.
Yeah, and you've sort of talked about this, but give us a better sense of what could happen if Meta loses this case.
It's interesting because this is a case that goes back to 2020. It was originally filed during the first Donald Trump administration. At the time, it was, Donald Trump was, of course, not the biggest fan of Mark Zuckerberg, whereas things have changed significantly in the years since. And Mark Zuckerberg is now a supporter of Mr. Trump, donated to his inauguration fund, showed up as an inauguration, enacting changes to policy like content moderation that are very much aligned with the current administration. So the political landscape has changed significantly. So what may very well happen here is that in court, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, pushing for a monopoly ruling, pushing for a breakup scenario very similar to what we saw in the phone industry in the 80s, but it could very well be overshadowed politically by an administration that now sees platforms like Meta, like Instagram, as helpful to their agenda. So will this happen politically? Likely not.
And I want to go back to what this could mean for the landscape. What does this mean for Google, who faced a similar trial, Carmi?
Yeah, Google, in fact, was called a monopoly in court last year. And right now they're in the penalty phase, which could very well result in them having to spin off either Android or their Chrome browser. So it's interesting that these two are playing out at roughly the same time. The difference between them, though, is Google literally owns search and search-based advertising. There aren't many large-scale alternatives to Google's services, whereas what Meta is arguing here is that unlike the search market, you have lots of other social media choices if you're not a fan of Meta, which means that the accusations that they're behaving like a monopoly in an antitrust manner simply don't hold water.
Okay. Tech analyst Carmi Levy, always good to get your perspective. As I mentioned, thanks for joining us.